This story begins in the year 2093 in a city of Japan where horrible monsters attack children and innocent citizens, appearing out of nowhere, and in this way they terrorize all of humanity. In the same way, the number of crimes reached exorbitant levels, and humans also had no way to defeat those enemies, and the governments of the world were overwhelmed and stressed because they tried in 1,000 different ways to defeat the monsters, but they could not. And so it went on for 2 years until we arrived at the year 2095. When a human appeared who rose like a light of hope for humanity, who crushed left and right a great number of enemies, including their leader, the king of the monsters, thus cleansing the streets of the cities and leaving them free of danger. It was then that they recognized him as a hero, and they called him Zero. In addition, he shared with humanity the information about the monsters and the criminals, and thanks to that, they were able to understand how the world worked. He even led the counterattack with a team of superheroes, and in this way, by the year 2100, the crime rate of the countries fell a lot together with their monsters. Yet the monsters kept appearing more and more, and when the world needed him the most, he disappeared. Well, at least that is everything that is told in the Hero movie, and even though 5 years have already passed since that event, they made several movies about him, and right there, we realized that someone is watching the movie, and it is none other than Zero himself, who tells us that his sister threw him out of the house because she wants him to go look for a job, but he is interrupted by a frantic sound where we see a superhero on a stage who is able to eliminate the monsters and keep the peace, while at the same time he captivates the girls with his music, and he asks his fans to support him on his path toward promotion to Class B, but right then someone shoots at him, and because he is such a stylish guy, he dodges it, and we see that the one responsible was a thug who blames him for having hurt an important member of his family. So he came to assassinate him, and quickly his men point their guns to shoot, but they are stopped by the cool guy who was playing the electric organ and who manages to snatch their weapons with a magnetism ability. So the handsome show-off makes use of the weapons with a lot of style, which makes the vandals angry. Then the one who plays the drums with his little fire stick manages to put on a good show since he defeats the opponents on the spot. And lastly, there is the fast and electric one who finishes off those who were left. So the bossy bald bad guy tries to land some soft punches against the beautiful leader, ending in a defeat for the baldy, but then he tries to escape and our Prota puts some criminal handcuffs on him, and the bad guy remembers the pact he made with the handsome purple-haired dude, so he thinks they betrayed him, and in this way this man transforms into a kind of Hulk, showing that he is a real bad guy of rank B. And we also see that the handsome one is scared out of his mind because this was not what they had agreed on, so he proceeds to receive a severe blow that hard resets his windows and makes him think about his human existence. Immediately, his companions try to attack the bad guy, but this is useless because he sends them flying as if they were flies. But to stop the lamentations, there appears a true hero whose name is Zan, and we are told that he actually is registered as a hero in the association and has rank E, and so he proceeds to take out his weapons, which are some high-power reaction gloves that can send anyone flying through the air, as you can see on screen, but when he uses them, he ends up flying because of the poor execution. Oh wow, he is still alive, but it shows that he is bleeding, and in spite of everything he throws himself again into the attack, but the bad guy sends him flying. So he pulls out his secret weapons, but he still ends up like trash in the trash can, literally. So he ends up very exhausted, but when he sees that the bad guy is about to tackle our Prota, he tells him to retreat and that he will take care of it because he is a true superhero. And how could someone be one if he abandons a citizen and runs away? And thanks to this, he awakens our blue-eyed guy who quickly launches himself to defeat the gorilla, pulling a club out of his butt, thinking that it has been a long time since he remembered what it is to be a true hero, and he gives the brute a blow, defeating him with a single attack. And while the boy looks at him from behind, asking who this guy is, without thinking twice, he jumps toward him and asks him to be his team, telling him the following: "With my brain and your muscles, combining the greatest mind with the maximum strength, we will be the most powerful team in history, never before seen." But right then, a beautiful albino girl with black glasses gets down from her carriage, looking at the panorama of bodies on the ground, and she notices our characters, asking them about what happened. At that, our boy with the stylish hair tells us that this girl is the top-tier superheroine of City H, known as the Winter Sorceress, and of course he asks for her autograph. but that grumpy waifu repeats to him that he should explain what happened. So he has no choice but to tell her, explaining to her that when he was passing through this place, he saw a criminal attacking the handsome singer, so he decided to help him with his tools, and he fought against the bossy bad guy, and in the end, together with his assistant, they defeated him. Well, only we know the truth. Then she realizes that there is no one else near him, since Zero has already left, and so he was the one who remained. And now we see our protagonist who was going to his house with his sister when suddenly he hears at the door that she is arguing with her boyfriend, whom she breaks up with at that moment, and well, now he is her ex. Of course, these are things that happen on the wonderful and very unstable road of love. So when he enters the house, he tells her that the guy was handsome and rich, so he does not know the reason why she dumped him, but she clarifies to him that her heart belongs only to Zero. Yes, the hero, since she is not interested in money nor in status like the one that gives you iPhones, but only in her love for the masked man that we all know is our prota, and her brother does not want to hurt his sister, so he thinks that he definitely cannot let his little sister find out that in reality, Zero, the hero admired by everyone, actually is her brother, who has neither job nor trade and who does nothing but watch in his room, which is disgusting. Right then, she asks him whether he got any job, and obviously he stays quiet, which angers her even more, scolding him that it has already been 5 years that he has been at home, and he became a parasite who does not even wash his own plate where he eats, and that he has dirty clothes thrown everywhere, and we should not even talk about his room. But to all of this, he tells her that their parents do not tell him anything, and that the only one who complains is her. To all of this, they saw the photo of their parents. They look a lot like Saitama and Tatsumaki, such a great reference. So the sister reminds him that their parents already passed away 10 years ago, so the blonde says there is no other way, so he had better learn the lesson. But suddenly they are interrupted by a guy who knocks at the door, and when they turn to look, the man had already entered their apartment, and yes, it is the guy with the stylish hairstyle. He introduces himself calmly. Obviously nothing suspicious has happened. It is not as if someone had entered without permission into another person's territory. Well, the thing is that he came to invite our Zero to become a true hero, and besides, they will pay him like in any job to her little brother, and it could even be that he earns prizes, and by being his companion, he guarantees him a good salary. And when she hears that there is a lot of money involved, she accepts because nobody respects the freeloading brother. So before leaving, he says that tomorrow he will register him in the association, and at night he will invite him to dinner. The next day in the morning, they arrive at the place of the heroes, where upon entering they see a sculpture of Zero with other people. So he asks Zan about the identity of the other subjects, and it turns out that those individuals are superheroes of double S rank who fought alongside the Great Zero, but for some reason he does not remember them. Suspicious. So the guy with the stylish hair tells him, it turns out that 5 years ago, right after the disappearance of the Great Zero, the government proposed a project in which it classifies beings in different ranks according to their power and performance, from the lowest, which is rank E, which is the one held by the guy with the sexy hair, up to the highest, that is double S. After that, there were some internal problems among the heroes, and because of that, many of them left, but there he stops, since he tells him that it is better to forget it. It must be for something suspicious. And so he takes him to register, where a lady accompanies them to the testing hall with the examiner, who clearly has a gym at home, so this one explains to them that to pass, they only have to remain conscious for 3 minutes in a confrontation with him. So our prota tells him, and what happens if I defeat you? Which surprises the assistant and his companion, and they try to stop him since the trainer is a hero of rank B, but our Zero approaches to confront him, which makes the examiner smile, who activates the blades on his arms and they start the battle. In this way, the handsome guy stops him just by holding his weapon to the floor, and then the old man tries to attack him from behind, but it is useless. Zero is totally broken, so the old guy throws stones at him, and both of them put on a very good fight, but in the end, our prota stops the final blow just by stepping on him, and he also breaks his nose, sending him to sleep. Thus, he passed the physical exam, so the assistant tells him that he got 10 out of 10 points, and when he goes out the door, this crazy girl screams that she does not want a tank. Then he finds out that now it is time for the written exam, and there we see him scared to death because he did not study. I identify with him if you also did not study for an exam and you were nervous. Comment now. Now, we move to another scene where we see the examiner lying down after the fight with our prota, accompanied by the albino sorceress. And from what we see, he is traumatized for having been defeated. So our waifu tells him that some nightmares are better to forget, saying that newbie, that is our Zero, is very powerful and that he would at least be in rank A, to which we know that is false because he is totally broken, though not in everything. In this way, she shows him his written exam, and we see that he is a complete idiot and that he only thinks about cutting his enemies. Now we see how the hero applicants are looking to see whether they passed or not, as if they were the results of a public university, while Zan is uneasy looking at the board, and our feline one is serious when he sees his points. This one laughs in the face of our prota, telling him that he is a genius, and that not even an elementary school kid would get such a score. So in front of the bully, our prota gets angry, tells him, "Shut up, dirty one," and leaves. He got really mad. But then Zan consoles him, and right then, they see some vandals bothering a nerd, lifting him as if he were a feather. And on top of that, they have the nerve to harass and insult the great Zero, something that angers our prota and Zan, throwing the nerd and having him be caught by our angry feline. Who like that throws them a piercing look? And our guy with the cool hair goes to attack them, but he is stopped easily. And when he tries to hit him, our lazy one saves him epically. And this one is heard saying that his idol Zero was dead, while we see how the one with glasses complains that he treats him like an object. And now we find out that the Vandals are heroes of rank D called the Golden Triangle, when suddenly a hero appears called the Divine Ghostly Frightener. What an insanely long name, who makes the guys of the Golden Triangle crap themselves with fear and step back, and he even calls them a bunch of useless ones. After that, we move to another scene where our heroes are talking, and Zan makes fun of the one with glasses, mentioning that nickname suits him. Then, after introducing himself, the hairy one says that they can call him 13, mentioning that he is rank E, and that people do not know how to talk to him naturally, so our prota thinks that he has no friends. So he quickly takes out his cell phone and shows his supposed friend, who in fact is a waifu on the phone, so our very sensitive feline goes to him and shows him that he also has that waifu. And so, they become best buddies and both grab hands and shout together, "Long live the magical girls." This is a kind of weird moment. Then our prota tells him to team up, and 13 cries with joy because he was a hero of rank E, and nobody wanted to form a team with him, thanking them for the opportunity. After that, we see that they ask him about his ability, and he answers, "Bad luck." No wonder he was alone, and they start to argue about that bad luck, and our heroes cannot believe it. Now we see a flashback of the blue-haired guy's story, mentioning that since he was little, they nicknamed him like that, as the Divine Ghostly Frightener, and that his 13 came from an orphanage where he was number 13, and eventually it burned down. Then they sent him to another, and this one was buried by a flood, and he was saved again. And so no matter how many times he went somewhere, the same thing always happened, so he had no choice but to wander through the streets, and at that moment our heroes move away from him. And he tells us that from time to time good things happen to him. So Zan asks him, what is that good thing that happens to him? And he tells him that when he was in front of a monster, Zero himself saved him. And from that moment, he wanted to be a hero like his idol, and that he still remembers his voice. And excited, he punches a column. And just as fate says, bad luck starts to shake everything and make it fall to the place. So our protagonist, with an epic kick, manages to break a rock that was going to fall on a girl, and he carries her in his arms, telling 13 to help the others since nothing is going to happen to him. So he runs to help some injured people and says that it happened again, and he ended up like that. Then he goes to the hospital feeling guilty and enters a room where the prota is, and he informs him that the brother with glasses is still alive, but the guy with glasses, all hurt inside the capsule, shouts, "Look how I am, how can you say there is no problem?" To which Zan tells him that he will recover sooner or later anyway, so the guy apologizes and tells him that he would appreciate it if he stayed away from him. So the prota interrupts, saying how can he tell such nonsense to his companion, and so he starts to scold and argue with our feline. So this one tells him that now everyone is on the same pirate ship, and that he should not even dream that he can get off, and he threatens him saying that he will tell 13 to follow him for life, and